next month or two, all right? I think that's going to happen. But that includes a 60% drop in robberies, a 74% drop in carjacking, and motor vehicle thefts. We have always achieved numbers that are good. These numbers are right on line to be among the best that we've done. And wherever we do this, we have very similar results. We were in New Orleans, where the governor called us, as you know, and we went to New Orleans. They just had Mardi Gras. They said it's the first, it sounds terrible, but it's the first Mardi Gras we've ever had where there was no murder. Can you imagine? Doesn't sound too good, but, you know, we're talking about the facts. And they said we had the lowest crime that we've ever had on Mardi Gras, which is almost nothing. We went there about 4 months ago. We did a great job. So we've achieved a 70% reduction in murders from the peak in this place. In total, we've arrested 7,000 criminals, seized more than 1,100 illegal guns, taken more than 1,000 pounds of illicit narcotics, and rescued more than 150 missing children, making their parents beyond happy. So I'd like you to please join me in thanking, I tell you, every single law enforcement hero here today. We have a small number compared to what's doing the job, who helped make Memphis safe again. Memphis, just so you know, with all of the things we said, you have now developed a reputation as a city that's coming back stronger than any city in the country because of what's happened with crime and because your political leaders had the courage to do what they did. So I'd like you to also say a special welcome and hello to the Tennessee National Guard, the Memphis Police Department, ICE, CBP, the ATF, DEA, Homeland Security Investigations, the U.S. Marshals, the Tennessee Highway Patrol, and all of law enforcement. Everybody got together and they said, we're going to make Memphis great again. And they really did. It's so good. But, you know, I talk about how good it is. We're at 75%. Some people say 80, 81%. That still leaves 20%. You're going to be down in another 2 months, 3 months, I think, Addie. We're going to be down to almost no crime. You're going to be an almost crime-free city. You're going to be so proud of it. People are going to stay. They're going to actually come back because you have everything going, but you have that one horrible cloud over your head. And essentially, people know it's happening, but essentially in another 2 months, you're not going to have anything. You're going to have a virtually crime-free city. So today I'm pleased to announce that the Secretary of War, used to be the Secretary of Defense, we made a minor change. We like the sound of it better. That the Secretary of War just signed a directive to ensure that all National Guard members serving on this task force, as well as in D.C., New Orleans, and our border security missions, will receive the same benefits as active duty troops because you deserve it. That's not bad. That's not bad. So before we leave, I want to thank Attorney General Pam Bondi, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. These are great people. Chief of the National Guard Bureau General Stephen Nordhaus, FBI Director Kash Patel, wonderful guy, actually. You got to get to know him. Once you get to know him, he's a wonderful guy. I've known him too long, right? He's a good guy. DEA Administrator Terry Cole, what a job he's done. Acting Director of ICE, where's Terry? Good job, Terry. What a job. In Washington, too. Acting Director of ICE, Todd Lyons. Todd, great. Thank you, Todd. Good job. Head of the ATF, Rob Cicada. Rob, thank you, Rob. Head of the Tennessee Highway Patrol, Colonel Matt Perry. Thanks, Matt. And head of the Tennessee National Guard, Major General Warner Ross. How are you? You guys look Central Casting. These are Central Casting people. What did you need us for? You didn't need us. Anyway, they had to let you do your job, right? They're letting you do your job now. Thanks as well to Tennessee Governor Bill Lee for the outstanding job. Thank you very much, Bill. We appreciated your call. Bill called me up. He said, we need a little help in Memphis, sir, when you get over here, please. He said, I have no pride. We just want this thing straightened out, right? So thank you very much. I'm glad it worked out. Oh, you haven't seen, what do you see? In 90 days from now, you're going to see numbers that blow these off. You're down 70, 75%. You're going to see numbers that you're going to be very proud of. Senators Bill Haggerty and Marsha Blackburn, great people. Great people. You have some real warriors, too, as your congressmen and women. David Kustoff, Andy Ogles, Diana Harshbarger, John Rose, Matt Van Epps, and Chuck Fleischman. Will you all stand up? Warriors all. Everyone. Great, great people. You don't get better, and it's not the easiest job, is it, huh? Speaker of the, you know what I like about them? They're not 3 o'clock in the morning. Sir, I get a call from Mike Johnson, Speaker. Sir, we have a problem. What time is it, Mike? 3 o'clock, sir, morning. We vote at 9. We need, it's always the same, you know, it's like 8 or 9. Sir, could you call them for us and see if you can get their vote? 3 o'clock, call them up. Hey, Jim, how you doing? Hello, sir, I'm not there. I'm not there. Well, you got to get there. 9 o'clock, you got to vote. Sir, could I have a little breakfast so we could discuss this bill? You know, like a perfect bill, like, you know, voter ID or something. You know. The bill didn't have to be too great to do it. He said, could we have maybe a little breakfast at the White House, sir? So, because I can get there, but I'm just not there. Come on over for breakfast, Bill. You know? I got a lot of them, too. I have about 9 of them. But these are the people we love. These are the people we love. So I want to thank you all. Speaker of the Tennessee House of Representatives, and I hear this guy, I hear he's fantastic. Cameron Sexton, where is he? I have heard such good things about you. And you're working on a very specific bill right now. I know all about you. That's great. Let me know when it's finished, you know. You got to send me a copy, okay? That's great. Thank you, Cameron. You're doing a great job. Shelby County Sheriff Floyd Bonner. Thank you, Floyd. National President of the Fraternal Order of Police. Oh, that's a big one. He gave me his endorsement. Patrick Yost, where's Patrick? He gave me his endorsement. I said, well, what's your endorsement worth? How many members? He said, sir, we have 490,000 members. I said, that's a good endorsement. Patrick, do you think anybody outside of, within law enforcement, did anybody vote for Kamala that you know of? Don't say it. You're going to get yourself in trouble. Don't say it. But thank you, Pat. That's great. We had an unbelievable, I do believe we got 98, 99% with law enforcement. And why not? President of the National Sheriff's Association, Chris West. Chris, thank you very much. Thank you, Chris. Stand up, Chris. Thank you. Well, why are you so far back there, Chris? You deserve to be in the front row. The National President of the Federal Law Enforcement Officers Association, Matt Silverman. Great guy, too. All great guys, all guys we know. All guys, thank you, Matt. They're all guys that supported me, Pam, every one of them. For years, our leaders allowed entire cities in America to be destroyed by crime, drugs, and gang violence. Tolerating this violence was always a choice. 19 of the 20 most dangerous cities in America are run by Democrats. I'm surprised. I thought it was 20 of 20. I don't know why it's 19. I don't believe it. It's like, I heard it was 25 out of 25. Well, I'll find out about it because I don't believe it's right. Whoever wrote that statistic is wrong. But under the Trump administration, we believe that no city or neighborhood should be left behind. In Memphis, the crime became so horrible that residents were made prisoners of violence in their own community, in their own home. But with the help of the great people right here at this table and right here, it's a whole different story right now. It's changing fast, and it'll be record-setting in a very short period of time, and I'll be here to celebrate it with you. You know, it's a very special state to me. I won this state, Bill, by numbers that nobody's ever won it before. We have the all-time record for votes. So I happen to like the state. I love Tennessee. Maybe someday I'll move to Tennessee. I might have to move there. No, I love it. You never know what that is. You know, you just have a relationship with the state. It's a lot safer than relationships with other things, I can tell you as a politician. But I especially want to thank Speaker Sexton, who's working with the task force to pass model bills that will be toughen crime, to deliver permanent safety to the people of Memphis. And really, I don't know if you know, but they're looking at this all over the country, what you're doing. They're studying it. That's why I know your name so well. And all over the country, they're studying it. And so I hope you do a great job, as simple as you can and as complex in the sense of we want to be tough. We want to be strong on crime, because that's the thing. We want to have heart. We want to have fairness, but we have to be tough, because some of these people are bad people that should have never been allowed to be here. Since I took office, we have successfully arrested or removed from the country over 500,000 hard-line criminals. And under our leadership last year, the murder rate nationwide saw the single largest decline ever recorded to the lowest level in 125 years. That's something. That's something. And this is despite the fact that they allowed 25 million people into our country. Many of those people should never have been allowed into our country. So now I'd like to ask Director Gadi Seralta, who's really a special guy, and I've lived with him because of Washington, D.C. I saw what he did, but to say a few words. And congratulations for what you've done everywhere, but today we're only interested in one place, Memphis, Tennessee. Thank you very much. Gadi?
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you very much. So good morning to you, and thank you, Mr. President. Today we celebrate the successes of this incredible mission and all our federal, state, local, and National Guard teammates who have contributed mightily to the Memphis Safe Task Force. Mr. President, it is an honor to be entrusted by you to lead this amazing task force as Director of the United States Marshal Service. Your decisiveness in responding to state and local leaders' requests for federal assistance is inspiring. It was just over 6 months ago when you signed the executive order restoring law and order in Memphis. At that point, the city of Memphis was overwhelmed with unprecedented levels of violent crime, to include some of the nation's highest per capita rates of murder, robbery, and aggravated assault. Memphis residents could not safely enjoy a walk downtown. Parents were fearful of their children playing outside, and local businesses struggled to prosper. The mission you gave us was clear and concise. Crime will not prevail in Memphis, period. The city will not be surrendered to lawlessness. President Trump, thank you for your leadership. We had a blueprint, quickly restoring order and reducing violent crime, given our success with Operation Make DC Safe and Beautiful, as you mentioned. We began our deployment to Memphis and commenced operations on September 29, 2025 with 20 partner agencies and 200 task force members. Now we partner with 33 multi-agency teams throughout the Memphis area. We have the support of over 2,700 officers and National Guard members who comprise the Memphis Safe Task Force, most of which are out here in the audience. In just over 6 months, the Memphis Safe Task Force has made over 7,342 arrests, this is last week's numbers, with charges ranging from homicide, there was 44 of those, 94 drug offenses, 812 drug offenses and 757 gang-related offenses. We have seized over 1,200 illegal firearms and located and returned 150 missing children. Each of these arrests and seizures of illegal contraband have a ripple effect, bringing justice to victims, relief to communities, and the prevention of future offenses or deadly accidents. Our work, however, has not just been about arrests and the seizure of illegal firearms and narcotics. Our Tennessee National Guard partners have made a significant impact while serving on the task force by administering several life-saving doses of Narcan to overdose victims, chasing down and detaining a fleeing murder suspect on Christmas Day, and providing immediate life-saving medical aid to the occupants of a vehicle collision on I-40. That's just a few of the things they've done. Similarly, our Health and Human Services Tactical Med, we call them TACMED, they're our doctors. Their team has treated almost 500 task force officers and related injuries during our operations. The fraud cell, the Memphis Safe Task Force Fraud Cell, has been a key contributor in targeting federal benefits fraud, organized crime, and other complex fraud matters. The fraud cell has more than 80 open investigations, 33 cases active with the United States Attorney's Office. Their recent efforts have resulted in 2 indictments of convicted sex offenders living in housing paid for by Housing and Urban Development, and 1 indictment for stealing benefits from a Social Security beneficiary. I would also like to recognize the work of Attorney General Bondi's incredible staff at the Western District of Tennessee. Their stats tell a remarkable story as well. They have increased the number of defendants charged by 221%, and the number of cases indicted by 204% when compared to the same operational period last year. I see you smiling, Mike. Congratulations. Without question, the public safety outlook in Memphis has improved dramatically. In the past 6 months, collectively, our efforts have resulted in a 43% reduction in total serious crimes, 37% reduction in murder, 40% reduction in sexual assault, 56% reduction in robbery, 68% reduction in motor vehicle thefts, and the most impressive of all is a 65% increase in the solvability of the crimes that have been committed. These numbers are so impressive that it's often easy to just recite them without reflecting on significant positive impact that we have had on lives of Memphis residents. The city's residents and visitors are now more likely to venture downtown, and our local businesses are rallying back. Large-scale public events have shown improved safety outcomes, as demonstrated during the December 6, 2025 St. Jude Marathon, where 22,000 runners gathered without a single reported downtown burglary, compared to multiple incidents in the prior year. Perhaps the most telling of all is one of our Special Assistant United States Attorneys recently reported that a traveling emergency room doctor, expressed his appreciation for all that the task force had done. You see, he said that in years past he would see 3 to 5 gunshot victims per shift, and now he sees an average of 1 gunshot victim every 3 or 4 shifts. Mr. President, the Memphis Safe Task Force underscores one simple truth. When federal, state, and local agencies work together as genuine partners, we can reclaim even the most troubled cities. I am extremely grateful to you for the opportunity. To all our partner agencies, it has been an honor to work alongside you, and I look forward to sustaining and building on these partnerships as we continue to make Memphis safe again. Thank you.
Thank you, Getty, very much. And Pam, I think, thank you. What a great job. And I think, I see them sitting out there, your U.S. Attorney and your Assistant U.S. Attorney. You do a great job. Would you please stand up?
Michael Donovan.
Michael Donovan, Thank you, Michael. Thank you both. Great job. Thank you. Pam Bondi, please.
Thank you, President Trump. Some people choose to tolerate crime, but you chose law and order. And that's why this task force worked. It was all of us, as Gaddy said, working hand in hand with my FBI, DEA, U.S. Marshals, ATF, with Cash, with Terry, with Rob, with Gaddy. Not only that, with Pete, with Department of War, with Homeland Security, with all of my agencies working hand in hand with the National Guard. When you went out there, when we came to Memphis, you could not tell who was with what agency because everyone was working so well together. Our U.S. Attorney, Mike Donovan, was out there. And not only this, everyone needs to know, we met with this president multiple times about this endeavor. The president knew what was going on here. The president cared. People like Alice Johnson sitting in the front row, who is a Memphis resident, she told us what a horrible crime problem there was. And I think the unsung hero in all of this is Stephen Miller. Stephen is the architect of making all of these plans work. Stephen, thank you. Thank you. And just two very brief examples. There was a horrible murderer, Arsenio Davis, who last October committed a gruesome double homicide. He killed his mother and dismembered another person. And based on this task force working hand in hand, he's off the street. Another example, a horrible monster who's charged with raping a small child. This task force, all of these members working together, arrested him. We can give you countless examples of that. Over 770 gang members off the streets. And we know there's no normal day for a law enforcement officer. We know it's so dangerous what our law enforcement officers do. But know this, Donald Trump and this administration, we have your backs. Thank you all, and thank you, President Trump. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Pam. And Pete Hegseth, who's been unbelievable at what he's doing, is nobody better. That was a wise choice. Pete, go ahead.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for your historic leadership on Operation Epic Fury. The success you've laid out was only possible because of the military you rebuilt, as well as the historic success here in Memphis. And I want to start by thanking every patriot in this room, in law enforcement, and the nearly 1,500 National Guard members for your heroic efforts in this operation. This is more than a task force. This is a statement not just in this city, but across the nation. When I look around this table, I'm looking at people that we work with every day: Governor, Cash, this team, the National Guard, Pam, Stephen, as was mentioned, Gaddy, the Speaker, at the federal level and the state level, working hand in glove. It doesn't happen any other way. You see, before President Trump, our nation was set on a perpetual course of decline. Our defense industrial base had been hollowed out. Our military had lowered its standard, prioritizing equity over merit and lethality. And right here in cities like Memphis, our people were focused on enduring just what seemed to be the status quo of rampant, vicious crime. Well, they let their cities burn to the ground, literally. In the name of hollow humanitarianism, weak leaders, and that's what it is, it's weak leaders, previously provided sanctuary for hordes of dangerous, illegal aliens who preyed on our most vulnerable. Soft on crime, defund the police nonsense tied the hands of our brave law enforcement heroes while the bad guys ran wild. And the most basic tenets of public safety, the foundations of any civilized society, were labeled as too toxic to implement. Well, not under President Trump. Such engineered chaos combined with a wide open border. By the way, thank you for agreeing to sign that declaration for the Memphis troops, the DC troops, and the troops on our border. They'll now be paid and get benefits just like folks on active duty. Thank you for that, Mr. President. It's an important step of demonstrating how serious this mission is to the Department of War. It's common sense. And it was that same common sense that brought President Trump back to the White House. People were sick and tired of the never-ending crisis. And under President Trump, we will not allow depraved, suicidal ideologies to destroy our great cities. No longer will we sit idly by while illegal aliens and savage criminals rape, murder, and poison the good people of this country. Because every American, without exception, is entitled to safe, clean, and beautiful cities. Cities where you can walk in peace, cities where law enforcement can do their job. And to that end, the Department of War stands shoulder to shoulder with state and federal partners so that our streets can be defended once again. Kind of like the visual I'm looking at right here. I see a lot of civilian leaders and police, law enforcement leaders in the front, and who's behind you? Men and women in camouflage, having your back every single day like we do in this mission. So thank you for working tirelessly to protect this state and restore law and order, and the results, they speak for themselves. That your presence has led to a massive reduction in crime, a reduction the good citizens of Memphis deserve. So thank you, Mr. President, for your leadership in restoring street by street, neighborhood by neighborhood. You are saving Memphis, Tennessee, and the country, and we are grateful for it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Pete. Thank you. Mr. Governor, please.
Yes, sir. Welcome back to Tennessee, Mr. President, especially to the iconic, great American city that is Memphis. We oftentimes say Nashville's the heart of Tennessee, but Memphis is the soul. And great businesses here, remarkable people, a true, rich cultural history, but a serious problem. And I want to tell you, even for me, today's a very important day, even personally. I'm a man who has loved this city all of my life. My grandparents, my mom born and raised, my family here. As a young kid, spent time with my cousins roaming the community, the neighborhoods in this city. But sadly, for decades, that was not possible for children to do safely anymore. And to watch this great city be plagued by crime like it has for decades was a very tough thing for Tennesseans to do. But as was said earlier, what's happened the last 6 months has changed that story entirely. And because of your leadership, Mr. President, putting together the Memphis Safe Task Force, putting these people, this leadership team in place, funding and making possible resources that have never before been made available to a city like has been made for Memphis. Because of that, because of the leadership here, and these, especially these men and women of law enforcement and the National Guard who have, in fact, gone shoulder to shoulder with not only the multiple agencies involved, but with the people of Memphis. What has happened here has created generational change and will create generational change, and it could not have happened except for what's happening and what we're celebrating here today. So the people of Memphis are grateful. This governor is grateful. I thank you for the work that's happened. And we are looking to the future. We believe that great things lie ahead for this city. There's a lot of work yet to be done. The General Assembly, and we are working together with the General Assembly to create legislation that will make certain that this is a lasting effect for our city. I'm very hopeful for the men and women of Memphis that have prayed for a long time that the violence would stop, for the businesses that have held strong to create jobs and opportunity for Tennesseans. I have a lot of hope for the future. I do believe and have believed all my life that this is a great city, and now it is on a trajectory of greatness beyond where it's been in the past. Thank you for that. And I will say, I want to introduce Stephen Miller to speak next. There is one person who showed up here early, actually multiple people at this table, but he said his commitment to whatever we needed for this city and for this task force to be successful. He committed that when this began, and it has happened. And we're not done, but the statistics speak for themselves. What Gaddy just read out a while ago is hard to imagine when we first started this just 6 months ago that these were going to be the results. There's more to go, but we're grateful for the work. And Stephen, your commitment to us Tennesseans truly are grateful for it, and your commitment to President Trump's strategy, not just to make Memphis safe, not just to make Tennessee safe, but to make all of America safe again. So thank you, sir.
Thank you. Stephen?
Thank you. Well, first and most importantly, thank you to President Trump, whose vision and courage and determination has achieved something that if you had predicted it 15 months ago, people would have said it was impossible. If you had said 15 months ago that we would achieve the lowest national murder rate, not in 5 years or 10 years or 15 or 20 or 30 or 40, but in the 125 years, nobody would have believed it possible. And President Trump did exactly that, and it is a miracle. Just think about this for a second. Under President Trump's leadership, the largest reduction in murders in American history, the largest reduction in violent crime in American history, the largest reduction in drug overdose deaths in American history, the largest reduction in fentanyl in American history, the largest reduction in illegal immigration in American history, and the largest number of criminals arrested, removed, or deported in American history, all done in 1 year. If I would just say this, if we had an honest media in this country, the statistics I just gave you would be 24/7 on the news. Nobody could have ever predicted such an achievement would be possible. The second thing I want to thank President Trump for is assembling the greatest national security and public safety team in American history. Because President Trump believes in merit, in competence, in people who get things done. So you look around the table of who President Trump chose for these jobs. You start with Rob or Gaddy or Pam or Pete, Cash, Todd, Terry, the whole entire team. What President Trump put together has never been rivaled in history. That's how you get things done. He chooses people based on their skill, their competence, their ability, their determination, their dedication, and their loyalty, and you're seeing the results. So I just want to again thank President Trump, and of course thank the governor as well, who picked up that phone, called President Trump, and said, I want you to help make Memphis safe, although I bet the governor would agree he could never have imagined this safe, this quickly, this many people behind bars. And let's just remember that because of the work that President Trump is doing, not only in Memphis, not only in Washington, D.C., but all over the country, ultimately, it will save and is saving tens of thousands of American lives. It is, I'll use that word again, what President Trump has done on border security and public safety is a national miracle that will be studied not only for generations, but for centuries to come. Thank you, President Trump.
Thank you, Steve. So, Cash, see if you can top that. I don't know. That's a tough one, Cash.
That is tough. You know, Mr. President, as I look around this venue, I see, and I'm reminded again, why we have the greatest warriors on God's green earth, the men and women serving in uniform, the men and women serving and wearing the badge, and law enforcement, our police, our sheriffs around the state of Tennessee. I'm reminded that Americans exist to protect this country day in and day out, and they've done it like we've done it here. But what we didn't have was you. We didn't have a commander-in-chief who backed the blue, who resourced the blue, who funded the military, who did whatever it takes to safeguard every single life. And here in Memphis, Tennessee, you have put on a show for the world. You have allowed us to go out there and capture gangbangers, rapists, murderers, drug dealers at record historic levels. And for me, a first-generation Indian-American kid whose parents fled a genocide in East Africa to become the 9th director of the FBI, I'm living the wildest dream you could possibly imagine, sir. But it's thanks to you. But more importantly, what I see when I look out across our great partners here in the interagency and our great legislatures and our great prosecutors and our great attorney general who has the guts to go out there and make arrests, turn them into prosecutions, and put people in prison, you are giving that dream to every single child in the state of Tennessee. You are inspiring the nation and law enforcement to come up and wear the badge and wear the colors of this country and safeguard our men and women for generations to come. This is an enduring mission, Mr. President, because you have made it enduring. It is going to go on for generations to come. They are going to try to achieve what you accomplished here, what Stephen said, in just one short year, and they're going to be doing it for decades because America was smart enough to elect you as our commander-in-chief. So while we're out there fighting for the dreams of our children, just know, Mr. President, how many millions of dreams like mine are going to be lived thanks to your brilliant leadership. Mr. President, thanks for delivering America the safest country on God's green earth.
Thank you very much, Greg. Pretty good. He did pretty good. Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's great to be here with you today. And you're in the, obviously we're in the hottest country, in the hottest state, and now the hottest city, thanks to you. So we appreciate your leadership in that endeavor. Also, it takes strong leadership, Mr. President, to do what you do. We thank you for that and have a strong team as well. But I'd like to say that I appreciate how resolute you are in your belief and your attitude. And I think that's a testament to making America first. Also, I want to thank you for delivering freedom. When we talk about crime, a lot of times we talk about normalcy. But people get used to high crime. They don't understand what low crime is. And in this city, unfortunately, it became a normal thing, seeing high crime. But you deliver freedom to the residents here in Memphis, as well as Governor Lee did. And it's as little as watching a kid or a child who said they had a bicycle in their living room, and now they're able to ride it outside. We take that for granted. We take that freedom for granted, but because of you, now here in the city of Memphis, kids can ride their bicycles outside, which they never had experienced before. And now what has happened, when you have freedom, Mr. President, you have opportunity. You now have hope, you get independence, and then comes prosperity. And that's what making America great is all about. They can be anything they want to be. It doesn't matter where you start out. You can end up wherever you want to be, and that's exactly what you're doing, Mr. President. And then we can talk about crime statistics, but I want to thank you for saving hundreds of lives. And I mean by saving hundreds of lives is those individuals who were not shot and killed in the city of Memphis. Those are saved lives that have something else that God's going to give them to do in their life other than be a crime statistic. In your short period with your team's approach, there are 10,000 less victims in the city of Memphis. Think about that. Hundreds of lives saved, 10,000 less victims. That is an accomplishment that you have never seen in this aspect. And I appreciate your strong team, all your individuals here, also a brilliant mind, and Stephen Miller, who I've been able to work with. And we are working, as you said, on legislation, not only illegal immigration that we're going to lead the country in, which is working its way through the General Assembly, but we're going to Soros-proof the state of Tennessee once and for all. And we're going to take on bail, we're going to take on woke and soft on crime DAs. We've already done truth in sentencing. We're working on 3-strike legislation. But we have a strong General Assembly that will support the governor and me and Lieutenant Governor McNally, who's a great advocate in this endeavor. And the last thing I'll say, Mr. President, is I appreciate your resolve to not allow people's words to distract you from your destiny. Stephen Miller just laid out what that destiny looked like, which is untouched in our history. Thank you for being resolute and not allowing those who want to take you down or to cause you harm, to allow you to continue fighting forward to make the America what we know it can be, as well as the city of Memphis. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. And now we have the ICE director, very important. He's done a fantastic job. Todd, please.
We're a law enforcement officer. Thank you for letting us do our job again. That's the key thing. The men and women in this room that wear the badge every day, we know that we have a president that has our back. So because of you, we can go out and we can make America safe again. But honestly, sir, if you just look at what we did, this is what happens when strategy actually meets execution. Your model is delivering real results, securing communities and making neighborhoods safe. And if more cities would just take the lead and have the strength and constitution like the governor does to make their major cities safe again, this is a prime example of how to do it. This is a direct reflection, sir, of the model that you put in place. This and the Homeland Security task forces that you put into action with your executive order are really what's going to make a difference to this country. You know, one thing, and Gaddy brought it up, was the Memphis Interagency Fraud Cell. That's key to your promise to the American people that honest Americans that need that funding will get it. What we're doing is we're having a reduction in fraud when it comes to SNAP benefits, mail fraud, and Medicaid fraud. And that's key and important for true Americans that believed in you that you're going to make a difference to make this country great again. While this wasn't an immigration-led operation, sir, we did have 619 illegal aliens arrested, 7 of those which were Venezuelans that were paroled into this country, or TDA gang members, 1 El Sal that raped a child, and another Honduras male that raped several children. Because of your leadership, we were able to get these violent criminals out of our neighborhoods, and sir, Memphis going forward is going to be the example, as Mr. Miller said, for decades to come. So on behalf of the men and women of ICE, the special agents of Homeland Security, we thank you for your leadership.
Thank you very much, Chad. And just, if I might, so you're at the front of a storm. The Democrats have caused lots of problems at the airports and all other places too. We shouldn't be in this position, especially when we're in conflict elsewhere. But how are you doing, and how is ICE doing at the airports and helping out?
Oh, you know, sir, to just have the opportunity to help our other fellow officers at Department of Homeland Security, we're doing great. We're going to make sure that your promise is kept, that we're going to help those lines move, and we're going to make people safe. And no one should be nervous to go to the airport, because we're going to make sure that every traveler in spring break has a safe journey.
I appreciate it. Great job. You're doing a great job. Thank you very much. Rob Cicada, please. Rob.
Mr. President, thank you for your assembling of the Memphis Safe Task Force. Your leadership empowered ATF and all of our state and local partners to focus on the most dangerous criminals operating in Memphis. Violent repeat felons, many walking the streets despite having 3, 4, and 5 felony convictions, are no longer doing so. They're no longer walking these streets without the fear of federal and state local and state law enforcement getting together and taking them off the streets. We focused our efforts on the most violent gang members operating in Memphis, so much so that we've decapitated the leadership of the Rich and Ruthless gang and the Vice Lord gangs operating here in Memphis. Their leadership, their membership is currently running the streets without any sort of direction. The gang members are falling apart. They're weakened. Their ability to coordinate and commit violent crimes are broken down because of the Memphis Safe Task Force. We've also been able to identify numerous firearms trafficking task force. Some of the evidence items that you see here were recovered from violent gang members. Many of these firearms were converted from semi-automatic weapons to be able to accept machine gun conversion devices, which now allow these rifles and pistols to shoot full auto. Those weapons were used by the gang members to terrorize this community and commit numerous homicides and numerous aggravated assaults. Those networks were identified and removed from operations. One in particular was operating 3 3D printing machines, making machine gun conversion devices in his house when search warrants were executed by ATF and our Memphis Safe Task Force partners. We are continually focused on preventing violent crime. In one instance, while we were out on patrol with our state and local partners, our agents responded to a shooting that had just occurred, located a victim that sustained serious gunshot injuries. Agents were able to render first aid on the scene and prevent that victim from bleeding out. Victim was transported to the hospital and ultimately survived because of the Memphis Safe Task Force being here. Our agents regularly talk to the members of the community. The community, when we first arrived, was in visible fear. They were afraid to walk out of their homes to the corner store. They were afraid to sit in their front yards because of being in fear of being victimized of a drive-by shooting. Those people are now approaching our agents and our partners, thanking us every day for being out there and taking the fear away from them so they and their family members could walk their communities and sit in their front yards and talk to their neighbors without fear of being killed or shot. So thank you for your support of law enforcement and for creating the Memphis Safe Task Force. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Rob, and you do a fantastic job. Thank you very much. One of the best crime fighters I know for really from personal experience because I've watched them more in D.C. than here, but I get the reports on what's happening in Memphis. And Terry Cole, please say a few words. Great job.
Mr. President, thank you for your leadership. It has given law enforcement the tools and the support to take this fight directly to the local street gangs, but also the cartels, the designated terrorists that are killing Americans. Your leadership is attacking not only the local street gangs here, but it's attacking the cartels in Mexico. It's attacking the cartels in Venezuela. It's attacking the cartels in Colombia and Ecuador. And it's setting the example for the world to see that they are designated terrorists. They are fueling the violence in our streets. The DEA, along with our local task forces, are disrupting the supply chain, dismantling networks, and saving American lives. This is America first. This is Americans first. The DEA is proud to stand along with our federal, state, tribal, and local partners here in Memphis with our amazing military and National Guard. The work has just started, Mr. President. We will take the battle wherever the battle leads us. But one thing can be rest assured, after you take Maduro out of Venezuela, after you take Mencho out of Mexico, after your diplomatic pressure forces the Mexicans to make a record seizure last week of 270 kilograms of fentanyl that was destined for the United States, this is truly due to your leadership. It's due to your partnership with law enforcement that enables us to do our job. A few small seizures from this task force is represented in front of you. Close to 190 kilograms of cocaine, close to 50 pounds of methamphetamine. But more importantly, this task force seized enough fentanyl to kill in lethal dosages close to 20 million Americans. 20 million Americans. In a separate case just outside of Memphis, working with our state and local law enforcement partners, we seized another 25 million lethal doses of fentanyl that was heading to our cities, heading to our streets. I will tell you, Mr. President, in my 3 tours here to Memphis to put on the gun, to put on the vest, and to go out in the community, I was welcomed. I was welcomed not only by an amazing Highway Patrol colonel and his team, but I was welcomed by the community. I was invited to front porches. I was invited to an ice cream social. But that was in between the hard work of the men and women of the DEA and this task force that we're conducting daily. See, personally, I served 4 search warrants with the amazing men and women of DEA and the Memphis Police Department and Tennessee Highway Patrol because I believe in the mission of where you lead from the front. So thank you for giving us at the DEA the power to do our job again. Thank you for giving us these amazing relationships with these task forces and the Homeland Security Task Force and the Memphis Task Force and the Washington, D.C. Task Force. There's no command we won't go out and complete, Mr. President. We're here to execute your orders. Thank you for your leadership, and thank you for this amazing opportunity to make America safe again, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Great job. So just in finishing up, we have 2 great people that happen to live here. One's a business owner and a good one, and one's a good one also, a resident. And we're going to ask you both to say a few words, please.
Mr. President, thank you for saving Memphis, and thank you for asking me to share my story. My name is Tim Pugh. I'm a co-founder and president of Pugh's Earthworks and Pugh's Flowers. My brothers and I have 2 family-owned businesses in Memphis, and this year marks our 50th year in business since we started our American dream. My entire family, including our new grandbaby, is living and working in Memphis. We want our family to feel and be safe. We have many friends that have moved away and encouraged their children to move away because of the escalating crime. We love Memphis and call it our home and would never want to move away. The crime in Memphis has affected my businesses. We've had several delivery vans full of flowers stolen as we're at the front door of someone's house delivering. Turn around and the van was gone. We've had landscape equipment stolen from job sites, so now we have to lock each piece of equipment to the truck while we're working on a property. And because of multiple break-ins, including one night we had 5 vans with the catalytic converter stolen on all 5. Due to repeated theft, we had to install an electric fence and multiple cameras around our main store to prevent this theft. All of this adds significant financial burdens and man hours. In the spring of last year, members of one of my landscape crews were robbed at gunpoint. This type of action became too normal in this city that I was raised in, and honestly, I felt that we were on a path of no return. How could we continue to operate our business when theft was rampant and, God forbid, lives were lost? Thankfully for you, Mr. President, we don't have to live and operate that way anymore. We have a great police force in Memphis, but they just needed reinforcements to get the crime under control. So thank you for bringing in those much-needed reinforcements. Our mayor is doing a good job. Each week he's sending out emails of the progress, and just last Friday he reported that crime was down well over 40%. Honestly, Mr. President, I feel like crime is down 100%, and that is because of what you've done. We want Memphis to grow and prosper, and to do that you must have a low crime rate. People have to feel safe. That wasn't the case before, but now it is. Thank you to the task force and our city leaders for working together to make this happen. And thank you, Mr. President. Memphis owes you a lot of gratitude. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tim. Thank you. Great. And your business is doing well. That's great. It's going to get better and better. You watch. Thank you very much. Delisha?
Thank you so much, Mr. President. It is a complete honor to be here with you today. Thank you for saving Memphis. My name is Delicia Ballinger, and I'm a lifelong Memphian, and I'm a mother. And I wanted to speak with you today, not just as a citizen, but as a mom who's lived through what Memphis has become. I remember a different Memphis. I remember when the city felt alive, when families didn't have to think twice about safety, when kids could just go outside and just be kids. We had places to go, things to do, and a sense of pride about where we come from. But over the years, that Memphis has faded, and what it was replaced with was fear. Before the Memphis Safe Task Force, I just didn't hear about crime, I lived it. I watched friends and people that I love lose their lives to the senseless violence. I've attended funerals that never should have happened. I've seen families torn apart, mothers grieving, and children growing up without parents, all because of violence that felt like it would never end. And those moments stay with you. They change how you see everything. But nothing's changed me more than becoming a mother. Because now, it wasn't just my life that I was worried about, it was my children. There were days where I wouldn't let them go outside, not because I didn't want them to, but because I was afraid what would happen if I did. And the fear of stray bullets, the sounds of gunshots at night, constantly wondering if they were truly safe. And that fear became real in a way that no mother should ever have to experience. At just 5 years old, I could have lost my son. There was a drive-by shooting, and a random bullet came through my home in that very same space where my son played. And to that day, this bullet hole is still in my wall, a permanent reminder of how close I came to losing everything. My family we are good people. We work hard every day to have everything that we have, only to have it taken away from us. We've experienced multiple burglaries in our home, and it wasn't just the material things that were stolen, it was our sense of security, our peace, our livelihood. And that violence just wasn't inside of our home, it was all around us. Just literally 4 houses down from where I live, a grandmother and her child were shot. I remember what sounded like almost 30 gunshots ring out. Yellow tape covered the street. After that day, those neighbors never returned. Their home now, with a for sale sign, stands as a reminder of a fear so deep that they couldn't come back to the place where they almost lost their lives. And that feeling, that fear, is something that my family knows all too well. That is not how families are supposed to live. That is not how children are supposed to grow up. We've reached out for help. For years, we looked to our local leaders hoping that anything would change, but nothing did. And that was until you, my president, stepped in. I need you to understand what that meant for families like mine, because in a matter of weeks, we felt a difference. Today, I can sit out on my porch and drink tea in peace. My children can go outside and play in our backyard again, and for the first time in 5 years, I don't hear any gunshots in my neighborhood. It's been almost 6 months, and it's like a whole new world. That silence means everything to me. It means safety. It means peace. It means that I can breathe again as a mother. What years of waiting couldn't fix, you did it in just 3 weeks. And I'll never forget that. My family will never forget that. And what's even more powerful is that that impact did not stop there. Because of the Memphis Safe Task Force, it has sparked continued efforts right here at home, like the Make Memphis Matter movement, led by the incredible, the most awesome State Senator Brent Taylor, starting in 2023, who is putting his best foot forward every day to continue the mission to make it a safer Memphis and to hold our SOARS-backed DA accountable at a state level, and partnering with amazing Senators Hagerty and Blackburn on the federal level. And it's because of leadership like that, I believe that Memphis can become that place that I once remembered. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you for seeing communities like mine. Thank you for taking action. Thank you for putting Americans first, especially right here in Shelby County in Memphis. Because this isn't politics for me. This is my life. This is for my children. In fact, President Trump, my son, my beautiful son, is here today, and he would like to wave and say thank you, because now he's free to live a normal childhood. Braylon, stand up for me, baby. And because of that change, we finally have a sense of normal again. Again, from the bottom of my heart, I truly don't have the words to share how much I appreciate you. Thank you so much, sir. Memphis loves you, President Trump. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Wow. I don't know, Delisha. I think we're going to have to give her MVP, right? MVP, Delisha. That's a great job. Thank you very much. I think she has to run for office. Would you like to become a Republican? She said, I am a Republican. I love this. Anyway, great job. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Really beautiful. So you're going to see some fantastic results. You already have, but you're going to see some numbers that are going to bring you into a level that few cities attain. I want to thank the governor. I want to thank the state. The state is just a fantastic state. The first day I stepped in it, we were leading by 30 points, and it never went down. It just only went up. So it's something special. We have a bond. We have a special bond. You know, you could be a politician, but when you win something in landslide, you have a very, very great feeling. And I want to tell you, this is a very, very successful, beautiful state, and I love Tennessee. Thank you very much, and congratulations to Memphis, and fantastic job. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, very much. Thank you. time at the alfalfa dinner. We did well. I hope we did well, but it was very good. Tremendous people. So what's up?
Sir, could you give us an update on where your thinking is right now with Iran, if you have made a final decision on what you want to do?
I mean, I certainly can't tell you that, but we do have very big, powerful ships heading in that direction, as you know. I can't tell you, but I hope they negotiate something that's acceptable.
Saudi Arabia's defense minister reportedly said that if the U.S. backs off the strike, that will only embolden Iran. What's your reaction to that, sir?
Some people think that. Some people don't. You could make a negotiated deal that would be satisfactory with no nuclear weapons. They should do that, but I don't know that they will. But they are talking to us. Seriously talking to us. What about it? I did. Well, I met with Jeb Bush. I was on Jeb. I think you mean Jeb. No, I introduced him. Nice. He's a good fellow. And he's been very nice to me the last 6 months. I don't know what happened, but he was very nice. We had a good time.
Mr. President, on your Fed nominee, Kevin Marshall, why are you willing to wait for Senator Tom Tillis to leave the Senate, essentially, until, if you have to,
For Tillis? I didn't say I wouldn't wait, but I mean, he's leaving the Senate for a reason, because what he asked for didn't get done. So it's one of those things. I think he may get Democrat votes too. I think he's so good that he'll probably get Democrat votes. He should. He's very good. My choice, my Fed choice, should get Democrat votes.
Do you have a sense of what he's going to do as far as interest rates are concerned?
I hope he's going to lower them. I mean, if you watch him on television, because I watch interviews and statements, I hope he's going to lower them, but he's going to have to do what he wants to do.
Did he tell you? Did he make any commitments?
No commitments. I don't want to do that. I could do that, I guess, if I wanted to. I didn't. I based it on quality. I mean, he's a very high quality person. He should have no trouble getting through.
Mr. President, did you make a comment at the dinner about saying that you would sue?
About what?
About suing Boris if he does not lower interest
Yes,
rates?
it's a roast. It's a roast. It's a comedy now.
So it was a joke.
And I said, of course, it was all comedy.
And of course, there is you're suing the IRS. Can you talk a little bit about what it's like to be on both sides of a lawsuit?
It's very interesting. I have another one where I've virtually won the Mar-a-Lago break-in suit, and I have to work out some kind of a settlement. I'm supposed to work out a settlement with myself because when the FBI broke in, we sued. Before I was president, I sued, and obviously it was a very good suit, and I have that one, and I have to work out a settlement.
Have you instructed Pam Bondi on how to handle that at all?
Well, I think what we'll do is do something for charity. We're thinking about doing something for charity, where I'll give money to charity. We can make it a substantial amount. Nobody would care because it's going to go to numerous, very good charities.
Sir, you guys had the truth today about Minneapolis and how you might not see federal authorities intervene. You asked the
what?
Secretary not to send in DHS in Democratic states.
Yeah, no, I let them ask us if they want help. They're always complaining. If you go in, they complain. They complain no matter what. We brought crime to the lowest point in the history of our country. 125 years, 1900. Think of it. Year. Think of that. 1900. Can you imagine? We have the lowest crime in the history of our country, despite the fact that our country was riddled with a lot of bad people from the Biden open border. But we've taken a lot of them out. We're at the lowest point in history. We have the least number of murders in the recorded history of our country. That's incredible. But honestly, the crime-ridden cities are all Democrat-run cities. And if they want help, they have to ask for it. Because if we go in, all they do is complain. But if they want help, they can ask for it. And they're going to need help. Los Angeles is an example. We went in, we solved it. The chief law enforcement officer in Los Angeles said they couldn't have done it without the federal government. A week later, he said they didn't need the federal government. So we don't want that. If they want help, they'll ask, but they have to say please.
On DHS funding, sir, the Democrats have made 3 demands. They say they want no roving patrols, they want established rules for use of force, and they want mass assault.
Well, we'll talk about it. it's not appropriate yet. We have to let a little time go by, but we'll talk about it. But you know, I got elected for law enforcement, for the border, for the economy, things I've done a great job with. I mean, when you have the lowest crime rate in the history of our country, recorded in 125 years, to be exact. So I've fulfilled so much. We'll have to talk about that over the next 3 or 4 days.
Mr. President, what did you think of the latest release of Epstein files, and do you think your critics will be satisfied with?
Well, they should be, because it looked like this guy Wolf, who's a writer, was conspiring with Epstein to do harm to me. And I didn't see it myself, but I was told by some very important people that not only does it absolve me, it's the opposite of what people were hoping, you know, the radical left. That Wolf, who's a third-rate writer, was conspiring with Jeffrey Epstein to hurt me, politically or otherwise, and that came through loud and clear. So we'll probably sue Wolf on that. And maybe the Epstein estate, I guess. I don't know, but we're going to certainly sue them.
You want to sue the Epstein estate?
Well, you may. I guess so, because he was conspiring with Wolf to do harm to me politically. That's not a friend.
On your plan for Venezuela oil, sir.
You okay down there? You okay? I don't want to let it tap on.
You said that the profits will be split, with the U.S. and Venezuela both benefiting. What's Venezuela's share of the oil profits going to be?
Well, we haven't discussed that, but we're getting along very well with the leadership of Venezuela. They're doing a really good job. We're going to be selling a lot of oil, and we'll take some, and they'll take a lot, and they're going to do very well. They're going to make more money than they've ever made, and it's going to be beneficial to us. We're going to really, I think Venezuela is really going to turn around. You know, I opened up the airspace over Venezuela, so that now people from Venezuela came from Venezuela here. They're going to be able to go back for the first time, go back to Venezuela and stay perhaps, or go back and see their relatives, go for a short period of time.
Sir, do you think China's going to get their money back for all the money they lent to Venezuela for
I don't
oil?
know. I don't know anything about that, but I'll tell you what, China is welcome to come in and would make a great deal in oil. You know, we welcome China. We've already made a deal. India's coming in, and they're going to be buying Venezuelan oil as opposed to buying it from Iran. So we've already made that deal, the concept of the deal. But China's welcome to come in and buy oil.
On Venezuela, do you think that Machado should be able to return to Venezuela?
I'd love to be able to do something with it, and maybe putting the sides together, doing something. I think she's a very fine person. But I think I have to say at the same time, the current leadership is doing a very good job.
Did you have any knowledge of the arrest of Don Lemon before it happened? Did you have any conversation?
No, I don't know anything about the Don Lemon thing, but he's a sleazebag. Everyone's known that. He's a washed-up. Probably, from his standpoint, the best thing that could happen to him. He's getting, he had no viewers. He was a failure. He was a failed host, and now he's in the news. I didn't know anything about it.
So what's your response to Claudia Sheinbaum's warning that the embargo or the restriction on Cuban oil to Cuba, could cause a humanitarian crisis there?
Well, it doesn't have to be a humanitarian crisis. I think they probably would come to us and want to make a deal. So Cuba would be free again. They'll come to us, they'll make a deal, but Cuba really got a problem. They have a problem. I know so many people from Cuba. But we have a lot of people in the United States right now that would love to go back to Cuba, and we'd like to work that out.
What do you want to see from Cuba? I mean, what do you need to see to make that kind of deal?
I think we're going to work a deal with Cuba. I think, we'll be kind. We have a situation that's very bad for Cuba. They have no money, they have no oil. They live off Venezuelan money and oil, and none of that's coming now. And then the president of Mexico, President Sheinbaum, was very good. I said, look, we don't want you sending oil there. And she's not sending oil.
On your plans for Washington, D.C., sir, the Washington Post reported that you're considering an arch that's 250 feet high. Can you talk a little bit about that and address critics who say that might be a little bit too large for the space?
We're considering an arc. It's like the Arc de Triomphe in Paris. So, for 200 years they've wanted to build an ark. There are 57 cities throughout the world that have them. We're the only major city, Washington, D.C., that doesn't. the circle prior to the bridge, the Arlington Bridge, has been waiting for hundreds of years to have this done. In fact, there are 4 Eagles that got built, but it was interrupted by a thing called the Civil War, and so it never got built. Then they almost built something in 1902, but it never happened. So we have an unbelievable arc that I think will be the most beautiful in the world being built there. It's going to be built there.
It's 250 feet.
I don't know what the height is. It's just appropriate for the site. We're setting up a committee, and the committee's going to be going over it, but it'll be substantial. I'd like it to be the biggest one of all. We're the biggest, most powerful nation. I'd like it to be the biggest one of all.
And to all the charity.
It's a very exciting job, actually. They've been waiting for many years, just like the ballroom. For 150 years, they've wanted a ballroom. Now we're going to put up the most beautiful ballroom anywhere in the world, as far as I'm concerned. And I could have built a much bigger one. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be in keeping with. I didn't want it to be taller than the White House, etc. So I wanted it to be in keeping. But it's a really beautiful building, done by some of the best architects in the world. The ballroom, likewise the Ark. I think it's going to be great. We're just setting up a committee now for the Ark.
Could the money from the lawsuit that you may settle with yourself go towards paying for that arch or for the ballroom?
Well, we hadn't thought of it, but we're going to probably, it's sort of a strange position because I have a lawsuit, like the break-in of Mar-a-Lago, and I pay myself that somehow will never look good. So when I had other people, a lot of outside people said, what a great idea. Because nobody cares how much if it goes to good charities. So you settle by giving charities a lot of money. And I think we're going to do something like that. We're looking to do something like that.
Would charity be to pay for the ballroom and for the arch?
No, I don't think either of those two. I'm talking about American Cancer Society. A lot of I think they should be probably established charities.
On a answer, you had...
I would say established and respected charities.
On a answer, you had threatened those secondary tariffs on countries doing business with Iran. We haven't seen those yet. What are you holding off on?
Well, we're going to see. Look, we have a lot of things happening right now with Iran. We have a tremendous fleet going in that direction, and they're talking to us. So a lot of things could happen.
And the Canada tariffs, sir, that you talked about, are those coming?
Well, that was on the airplanes. Are you talking about the
about the China deal that they did.
Oh, well, if they do a deal with China, yeah, we'll do something very substantial. Because we can look. I have a great relationship with China, President Xi, but we don't want China to take over Canada. And if they make the deal that he's looking to make, China will take over Canada. And the first thing they're going to do, end ice hockey.
So speaking of China, sir, there was a military purge in that country a week ago. What do you make of that?
Well, as far as you're talking about China?
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, there's one boss in China. That's President Xi. That's the person I'm dealing with.
Are there any concerns about stability or?
No, I think President Xi is the boss. I watch it very closely, and he's highly respected in China. He's the boss.
Go back to Cuba for 1 second. Who exactly are you negotiating with on the island? Who's the government representative there you're speaking with?
Where?
In Cuba. Who are you speaking with?
We're starting to talk to Cuba, yeah. We're starting to.
Can you tell us who it is?
Look, they need help on a humanitarian basis, and we're starting to talk to Cuba. Don't forget, a lot of people that live in our country are treated very badly by Cuba. And we want them to be, they all voted for me, and we want them to be treated well. We'd like to be able to have them go back to home to their country, which they haven't seen their family, their country for many, many decades. So we'll work that. I'll be able to work that out, yes.
Do you have any update on what's happening with Greenland negotiations? Have you been in contact with Presidents Macron, Starmer, some of those European leaders?
Are you talking about on Greenland?
Yes.
On Greenland? Yeah. We have started a negotiation, and I think it's pretty well agreed to. I mean, they want us to do it. I think it's going to be a good deal for everybody. A very important deal. Actually, from a national security point of view, very, very important deal. I think we're going to make a deal there.
Mr. President, back to your post on ICE protests, what did you mean when you said people will suffer an equal or greater consequence?
If they do anything bad to our people, they will have to suffer. I'm sorry. If they start spitting in people's faces, punching our people, punching our soldiers, our patriots, they will get taken care of in at least an equal way. But they're not going to do that. Like, you see it, the way they treat our people. And I said, you're allowed, if somebody does that, you can do something back. You're not going to stand there and take it. If somebody spits in your face, that will not be a pleasant thing for the person that spits. We're not letting people spit in our soldiers' face as they stand at attention, and they're not allowed to do anything. If they throw bricks at a car, at one of our vehicles, and are very expensive vehicles, they're going to be met with very, very serious force.
Sir, do you think it's good having lots of cameras on these kinds of incidents between law enforcement and the people?
I think it would help law enforcement, but I'd have to talk to them. I'm going to be talking to them tomorrow. Actually, I think it would help law enforcement. That works both ways. But I think overall, I think it's 80% in favor of law enforcement.
Who are you talking to tomorrow on law enforcement?
A lot of people. Well, I'm speaking to Christy, I'm speaking to Tom Logan, a lot of people. We have it in good shape. And, Minnesota crime is way down because of what we've done. We've taken out thousands of criminals. What we want in Minnesota, we want them to open their jails and give us their criminals, and we're gone. That's all we want. And they're going to have to do it.
How are you feeling about Secretary Noakes handling the matters in the last week?
Well, she's did great. I mean, we have a closed border. We've taken out thousands and thousands of killers and murderers and everything else, removed them from our country by the tens of thousands, and we have the crime rate that's the lowest in history. I didn't do the crime rate stats. It just came out yesterday that we have the lowest crime rate in the history of our country. So how's she doing? I think she's doing well. She's a good person. She works hard. Tom Homan is a star. He's incredible. I mean, the guy's incredible. He's got an unbelievable, he's tough, and yet everybody likes him, both sides. So he's been great. But he said to me just tonight, he said, look, they've got to open up their prisons and give us their criminals and their murderers and their drug lords, and we'll take care of them. And that's why crime is down in Minnesota, not because of anything they did, it's because of what we did. Same thing in Chicago. We have crime down in Chicago, and most people don't even know we're there, but we're there doing a good job. We have crime down all over the nation. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
That's a very dangerous shot he's got.
It's 10 quarters.
That's the worst. That's got to be the worst shot on the
I don't know.
That's all right. Have a good time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Move over, let's get out of the sun. Turn back. That's better. Isn't that more comfortable?
Mr. President, Iran's foreign ministry says you're not telling the truth when it comes to productive conversations.
Well, they're going to have to get themselves better public relations people. We have had very, very strong talks. We'll see where they lead. We have major points of agreement. I would say almost all points of agreement. Perhaps that hasn't been conveyed. The communication, as you know, has been blown to pieces. They're unable to talk to each other. But we've had very strong talks. Mr. Witkoff and Mr. Kushner had them. They went, I would say, perfectly. I would say that if they carry through with that, it'll end that problem, that conflict, and I think it'll end it very, very substantially. We have very much in mind our partners in the Middle East. We've had great relationships with a lot of them, as you know. A lot of them were surprisingly hit, and I was surprised to see it, and so was everyone else, but we have, they're very much in mind in the discussions. So the discussions took place yesterday. They went into yesterday evening. They want very much to make a deal. We'd like to make a deal too. We're going to get together today by probably phone because it's very hard to find a country. It's very hard for them to get out, I guess. But we'll at some point very, very soon meet. We're doing a 5-day period. We'll see how that goes. And if it goes well, we're going to end up with settling this. Otherwise, we'll just keep bombing our little hearts out.
Who exactly who are you speaking with in Iran?
A top person. Don't forget, we've wiped out the leadership phase 1, phase 2, and largely phase 3. But we're dealing with a man who I believe is the most respected and the leader. It's a little tough. They've wiped out everybody.
Is that the Supreme Leader?
No, not the Supreme Leader. We don't. Well, nobody heard of the second Supreme Leader, the son. Nobody. We have not heard from the son. Every once in a while, you'll see a statement made, but we have not. We don't know if he's living. But the people that seem to be running it, and they seem that based on really fact, because things they've said have taken place.
Mr. President,
I can't.
Mr.
President, I know you because I don't want him to be killed. Okay, I don't want him to be killed.
Mr. President,
nobody wants to be that. Nobody wants that job right now. Nobody's exactly looking forward to being the head of that particular country. But perhaps we'll be able to solve that problem.
Mr. President, you've deployed ICE agents to American
Who are you with?
Newsmax, sir. You've deployed ICE.
You're not doing a very good job.
You deployed ICE agents.
You're not doing a good job. Did you hear me? Okay, go ahead.
what exactly do you want from
You
these
believe it? I'm
talks?
taking CNN over Newsmax.
What exactly are you looking for in these talks, Mr. President?
We're looking for all of the things that we've been talking about. We want to see no nuclear bomb, no nuclear weapon, not even close to it. Low key on the missiles. We want to see peace in the Middle East. We want the nuclear dust. We're going to want that, and I think we're going to get that. We've agreed to that. Yeah, we've agreed to that.
Do you want the enriched uranium before you can end this?
And we want no enrichment, but we also want the enriched uranium. If this happens, it's a great start for Iran to build itself back, and it's everything that we want. And it's also great for Israel, and it's great for the other Middle Eastern countries, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, all of them, Kuwait and Bahrain in particular. So it's great for all of them.
If the war is ending, do you still need $200 billion?
It's always nice to have. It's always nice to have. It's a very inflamed world, and the Democrats inflame it. Largely the Democrats inflame it. Let me just talk about the others. So ICE has done very well. I've requested. Now, I'm a big believer that they should be able to wear masks when they go and hunt down, murderers, criminals, and others. But for purposes of the airport, I've requested that they take off the mask. I don't like it for the airport, and I believe they are willing to do that.
Why do they wear masks not at the airport, but they need to do it when they're out in the street?
Because the people coming into the airport, typically speaking, aren't murderers, killers, drug dealers, etc. There may be a few of them, but there aren't many. They're people that want to come into the country, or that people want to leave the country, going to maybe their home country. So I didn't think it was an appropriate look for an airport. I think it's a very appropriate look when they're out on the street, trying to find one of the 11,888 murderers that Sleepy Joe Biden led into our country.
Last year you gave a $10,000 bonus. Sorry. Last year you gave a $10,000 bonus to TSA workers who kept showing up to work during the shutdown. Will you do that again?
Well, it could happen. It's amazing. There's people that are really, really loyal and great, and it's not easy for them. And this is all caused by the Democrats. Just so you know, all this money was approved. Everything was approved. This is done. The Democrats went in, and they want to have radical left lunatics come into our country. They want to have drug dealers. They want to have murderers come into our country. They want to have open borders, and we're not letting it happen. That's what this is all about. They don't want voter ID. They don't want proof of citizenship. They don't want mail-in ballots. They're so corrupt. What they want, the only thing they want is mail-in ballots. So we also added, as you know, into the Save America Act, and it's called Save America. It's not the Save Act. But we added no transgender mutilization of our children, and no men in women's sports. I don't think he's going to be a Newsmax.
If these talks go well and you reach a ceasefire with Iran, do you believe Israel would abide by that agreement?
I think Israel will be very happy with what we have. We just spoke to Israel a little while ago. I think they'll be very happy. This will be peace for Israel, long-term peace, guaranteed peace. If this happens, and, I can't guarantee it, but I think it's going to. My life is a deal. That's all I do is deals, my whole life. I think this is something that's going to happen. And why wouldn't it happen? So tomorrow morning sometime, their time, we were expected to blow up their largest electric generating plants that cost over $10 billion to build. It's a very good one. There was no dearth of money. And one shot, it's gone. It collapses. Why would they want that? So they called. I didn't call. They called. They want to make a deal. And we are very willing to make a deal. It's got to be a good deal. And it's got to be no more wars, no more nuclear weapons. They're not going to have nuclear weapons anymore. They're agreeing to that. Any of that stuff, there's no deal.
You said you're going to get the enriched uranium. How are you going to get the enriched
Well,
uranium? Are you going to send
it's very easy. If we have a deal with them, we're going down and we'll take it ourselves.
Can I ask you, the Treasury lifted sanctions on Iranian oil in the South Sea. Do you criticize President Obama for giving Iran $1.7 billion?
Well, I just want to have as much oil in the system as possible.
But Iran is
And we don't even know if Iran gets that money. Frankly, I think it's very hard for them to get it. But you have ships that are out there that are loaded up with oil. Rather than keep it there, I would rather see it go to the system. Any small amount of money that Iran gets is not going to have any difference in this war. But I want to have the system be lubricated.
Even $14 billion from the government?
Where's the $14 billion?
There's the inflated price. They get $14 billion from the...
I don't think they're getting the money. I could tell you, when this is all over, I will tell you who's getting the money.
Why are you sending the Marines from California, given that it'll take them weeks to arrive? Is the intention to police the strait or take off?
What are you doing?
Well, it's been reported that there are Marines that left California, left San Diego last week. Why are they headed there now?
Well, let me ask you this. If you were in my position, and I asked you that question, do you really believe I'd give you that? It's a crazy question. We don't talk about strategy. Yeah? Yeah, let in by Biden. It's devastating. These people were let in by Biden. We're getting them out. We're getting them out fast. That's why ICE is so important. They're doing such a good job. This animal, I saw the whole thing last night. They gave me a briefing. Came in through Joe Biden with his open door policy, and his borders are Kamala, who never saw the border. Never made one phone call. All the ICE people, you see, they all know me. Everyone knows me. They like me. I speak to them all the time. Didn't make one phone call during 4 years. She was the border czar to anybody on the border. Never went there. This person came in through the open door policy of Joe Biden. And we have others. We're taking them out by the tens of thousands. We're doing a great job, but it's a shame. They've hurt our country. Just remember this. Joe Biden and that gang of radical left lunatics, some very smart, but radical left and bad ideology, sick people. These people have hurt our country very badly.
Are we directly talking with Iran?
How is that different from what Russia is doing in Ukraine by any Ukrainian help?
Well, I think it's a lot different. And if you look at the nuclear weapons that they wanted to have, that they wanted to possess, a lot of things are different. I'm not a fan of what Russia's doing either, just so you understand, all right? But it's a lot different. You're talking about a country that has been evil for 47 years. They've been horrible. Death all over the world, not just us. Look at the way they attacked unexpectedly all of those countries surrounding them. It was not supposed to. Nobody was even thinking about it. But they wanted to take over the Middle East, and they wanted to knock out Israel permanently. If they had a nuclear weapon, they would have been able to.
Are we the president talking to Iran?
Look, I'm not a fan of the guy. If you look at, and you never cover this, if you look at his truths or whatever he went on, his ex-truth, if you look at his truths or his statements, he was all for everything. All of a sudden, he wasn't. He was a man that I met at Dover. He came and his wife was killed. He remarried fairly quickly. His wife was killed, and I felt badly for him. He ran for Congress, he lost. He ran for Congress again and he lost. I said, you know, he's a guy, nice guy, seemed like a very nice guy. I met him, he was pretty heartbroken, but I said, you know, it's a shame. He ran for Congress twice. Call him up, give him a job in the White House. Smart. He gave him a job in the White House, and this is what he does to me, you know? Being a nice guy doesn't pay off too much. Think of it. He loses twice in Congress, ran not very good campaigns, should have won, but he loses twice. How do I get him? I have my people call him, because I didn't deal with him for the most part. I saw him a couple of times, but I never dealt with him at all. I had no idea his ideology was left or right, whatever it is. I can say this. He said very strongly that Iran is not a threat. Iran's been a threat for 47 years, and there's not a country in the world that doesn't agree with me on that. So I take this guy, Joe Kent, who lost twice for Congress, pretty badly and tough, and it was devastated, and I know that he lost his wife. So instead of letting him live out his life, I brilliantly have my people call him and offer him a job in security, essentially, in the White House. Now, what does he do? He goes out and he says that Iran is not a threat to get publicity. Now, he probably signed up with CNN or maybe signed up with your division of Newsmax. I don't know, but probably signed up with CNN or somebody. But if you look at his tweets, X's or Truth, whatever he uses, I don't know because I don't follow him. What he said, 100% he agrees with me. All of a sudden he leaves. I never knew he had a problem. Now I hear they're looking at him for leaking. That's possible. But just so you understand, just to put it to rest, he lost twice badly. He also lost his wife. He's remarried since. He lost his wife. I felt badly for him. So I told my people, reach out to him, give him a job at the White House. This is the thanks I get. Any other questions?
Overall crime in Memphis was not an imminent threat. That's what the intelligence said.
I think it was an imminent threat. I think that Iran, if we didn't bomb them with the B-2 bombers, now that set them back. But if we didn't hit them with the B-2 bombers, they would have had a nuclear weapon within 2 weeks to a month. And if they had a nuclear weapon, they would have used it as soon as they got it.
If you obliterated their nuclear sites last summer with your strikes, then how can you argue with an imminent threat now?
Oh, we hit them so hard, we obliterated them. But that doesn't mean with the right equipment, you can't dig down and go get it. We don't want that. We won't have that. But we obliterated that site. They still haven't been able to get it. That was a complete success. But if it wasn't, they would have had, if we didn't hit them, if we didn't use the B-2 bombers, which are unbelievable, we just ordered 22 more of them, modern version, by the way, super modern version. If we didn't hit them with the B-2 bombers, they would have had, within 2 weeks of that attack, that's why we hit them, because we knew they would have had a nuclear weapon. They would have used it on Israel and the entire Middle East.
Overall crime in Memphis is down 43% since you began this task force. Is this a template you think is
well,
working?
What I'm doing today, really, this was supposed to be, this was a little bit before, set up a couple of weeks ago. This was before we had this situation with Iran take place last night. And by the way, they're just not committed. When they say, I'm sure they don't mean that. When somebody says, oh, I didn't know we were talking last night, and I'm sure they have a lack of communication, which is appropriate considering we blew up, in addition to their Navy, Air Force, every division, their radar, we also blew up all of their anti-aircraft and communication. So they have no telecommunication. So there is a lack of, I would imagine, a lack of coordination.
If you're worried about the miscommunication.
Well, we think all we can do is think, look, we have numerous leader groups. They've all been killed. Very dangerous position. Khomeini was killed. Khomeini's son is unavailable. Nobody knows what happened to him. I can say they haven't seen him there either. Something is going on with him, but regardless, I don't consider him really the leader. But they do have some leaders left because we blew up group number 1, group number 2, a lot of group number 3. But we think we have people that are very representative of the country and will do a good job at running.
Elon Musk has offered to pay TSA workers during this DHS shutdown. Is this something that you've been speaking to him about?
Yeah, I'd love it. I think it's great. Let him do that. And I want to thank ICE because they stepped in so strongly. They'll do great. And if that's not enough, I'll bring in the National Guard. We're not going to have the Democrats destroy our country. These people are the most destructive, sick people, the Democrats. They want, and they're fighting for this. They're fighting for men and women's sports. They're fighting for transgender for everybody. Everybody go out, get your kid a nice operation, and change the sex of your kid. They're fighting for, think of it. They don't want you to do voter ID. You walk into a booth. In California, if a person who's doing voting, an official, asks you for identification, they're subject to being arrested. What's wrong with this country? So we're fighting it hard. And I think they should, because the Democrats are being blamed for the shutdown, and it's their fault, and they're getting killed. That's why when I announced yesterday about ICE, the Democrats called. We want to settle. We want to settle. And I told the people, don't settle. Don't settle. Because we have something bigger. Only settle if you get the Save America Act, voter ID, and so important, proof of citizenship, etc. Thank you very much. We're dealing really...
Whose idea was it?
Mine. That was mine.
And can I ask you,
That was like the paperclip. You know the story of the paperclip? 182 years ago, a man discovered the paperclip. It was so simple. And everybody that looked at it say, why didn't I think of that? ICE was my idea. First person I called was Tom Homan. I said, what do you think? He said, I think it's great. Then I saw today there was some masks on. I didn't think the masks were appropriate. I put out a statement and I asked them, would it be possible to take off the mask? Because they should wear a mask when they're dealing with the murderers and the thugs let into them.
You said there's many points of agreement with Iran right now.
Many.
What, can you give us a
Many, like 15 points. 15
that
points.
Iran has said yes to?
Well, they're not going to have a nuclear weapon. That's number one. That's number 1, 2, and 3. They will never have a nuclear weapon.
They said yes to that?
They've agreed to that.
Will we see arrests, illegal migrant arrests at airports, sir?
Arrests?
Will we see ICE arresting illegal migrants at airports?
Yeah. Are we talking? That's why the Democrats are going crazy. Because they've allowed, by what they did, and hold up, we put ICE, who are a very high level, I mean, they really are a high level group of people. And they love it because they're able to now arrest illegals as they come into the country. That's very fertile territory. But that's not why they're there. They're really there to help.
Sir, are you clear have they agreed to no enrichment whatsoever, even for medical purposes, civilian purposes?
They have. Thank you.
And what about the Strait of Hormuz? Who's going to be in control of that?
That'll be opened very soon if this works.
How soon? And who's in control of it? Will Iran still be able to control the flow of oil?
Be jointly controlled.
By who?
Maybe me.
You want the United States to be in
Me
control?
and the Ayatollah, whoever the Ayatollah is, whoever the next Ayatollah. Look, and there'll also be a form of a very serious form of a regime change. Now, in all fairness, everybody's been killed from the regime. They're really starting off. There's automatically a regime change. But we're dealing with some people that I find to be very reasonable, very solid. The people within know who they are. They're very respected. And maybe one of them will be exactly what we're looking for. Look at Venezuela, how well that's working out. We are doing so well in Venezuela with oil and with the relationship between the president-elect and us. And maybe we find somebody like that.
Are you think there are many more options to lower the price of oil while the stock?
The price of oil will drop like a rock as soon as the deal is done. I guess it already is today. No, we have a very serious chance of making a deal. That doesn't guarantee anything. I'm not guaranteeing anything. I'm not going to come out here in a week or 2 weeks and have you all say, oh, you said. I didn't say anything. All I'm saying is we are in the throes of a real possibility of making a deal. And I think if I were a betting man, I'd bet for it. But again, I'm not guaranteeing anything. They want to make a deal very badly. Thank you.
What changes would you like to see in DHS under Mark Wayne?
Well, he's going to be fantastic. He'll make his own change. He's already given me a list of people he wants to bring He's a fantastic guy. I think he's just the right guy. You all know him. He's a very open, smart guy, very successful actually in business, which people don't know, and he's a friend of mine. I think Mark Wayne is going to be fantastic. Thank you.
Are these direct offers?
Terrible. They made a mistake. It's a dangerous business. That's terrible. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 45th and 47th President of the United States, President Donald J. Trump.
Thank you very much. Come on, John.
Well, good afternoon. Mr. President, welcome back to Pittsburgh. We're so glad to have you here. A year ago, almost to the day, I was with you at Butler, and I witnessed your strength and your courage on that day, and Dina and I are beyond grateful that you're here safely with us, and we are honored and thrilled to have you back in town. The town we're proud to call home at such an historic time for our great Commonwealth and for our nation. In your first term, you famously promised you were elected to represent the citizens of Pittsburgh, not Paris. And today you're once again making good on that promise. And what's happening here today is absolutely historic. Your visit and your leadership has catalyzed $90 billion of investment in energy and AI revolution in Pennsylvania. $90 billion. Your presence and those commitments showcase Pennsylvania's story to the world. And today's summit begins to deliver on the promises that you and I made to the working families of Pennsylvania by creating many thousands of new jobs. Mr. President, you and I campaigned on an agenda to make America energy dominant, to secure our nation's AI leadership, to create jobs and opportunity for working families in Pennsylvania and across America. And your policies are working. You're making our country energy dominant once again. You're supporting workers at every level. You've embraced foreign investment and created good paying jobs right here in the United States of America. And you have been unwavering in your commitment to rebuilding America's industrial capacity and securing long-term AI leadership. Those policies are not only crucial to our economic well-being, to the people here in Pennsylvania, but to our national security. And this agenda has galvanized private capital. It's unleashing a new wave of industrial development and job creation across America and in Pennsylvania. And I just want to say I'm so thankful to you, but also to your incredible team, Secretary Lutnick, Secretary Bessent, Secretary Burgum, Secretary Wright, David Sachs. We have had such incredible leadership and support from your team. Before we talk about those commitments here and what it means for Pennsylvania workers, I know you want to say a few words. And so I'd like to say, ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to introduce the 45th and the 47th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much, and it's a real honor to be here. And this is a place that warms my heart. We did very well in this state, as you know.
3 times actually, and it's been a tremendous experience. I went to school here, I went to college here, and got to know it very well, and the people are the greatest people on earth, so it's a real honor to be here. And I have to say about David and Dina, they had the toughest race there was. I said, this is going to be a tough one. And every campaign stop that I made, we had lots of people, tens of thousands would be a small crowd. And I'd invite David, and he'd get up and do a fantastic job, and it all worked out, but he won a race that was really not doable. I think his opponent was here for a long time, and his father was there for it's about 50 years at least total. And those people aren't easy to beat, but you beat them. So I just want to congratulate you. That's amazing. And he wouldn't have done it without Dina, that I can tell you. We know Dina. Anybody that knows Dina knows exactly what I'm saying. And, you know, he mentioned Butler, but what nobody really talks too much about because they didn't see the order, but I actually looked down to the right before that thing happened, and I said, oh, there's David McCormick. He's running for the Senate. David, come on up. And there was so many people, there was a little problem he had coming up because I said, look, just do it later. And then about a minute later, so, you know, if you would have come up, I don't know what the hell would have happened, right? Huh? It worked out better this way, right?
Exactly.
I don't know if he would have been around, but other than that, I want to take full credit for that. I said, no, don't bother, we'll do it later. So if I didn't say that, who knows? But really great job. Exactly 1 year ago this week, David was at that rally in Pennsylvania. And 12 months later, look at what we have. We have a president. We have really, I mean, if you think about it, we had a country, and I just left the NATO leaders. I left the Middle East, the King of Saudi Arabia, Qatar, as you know, Emir, so great, and UAE. These are 3 great leaders. And then we just made a deal with NATO where they pay for everything, and we give them the ammunition and the missiles, and we give them whatever they want. We got to get that war stopped. It's so bad. But every leader said, no matter where, they all said the same thing to me, some of them separately, but it's the same words, just about. He said, it's amazing. 1 year ago, you had a dead country. We were dead. We didn't think you could ever come back.